Hi Granny, welcome to Green Hammerton, welcome to Naworth House. My name's Paul, middle son, you probably remember that, and this is my Gardener's World Tour for 2021. We'll start off with the wall and these daisies here, which were grown from a cutting from Beck's cottage in Suffolk, and they've gone absolutely mad. I had a superb display of blooms in May, and I've had another superb display in the last few weeks. That's been a great hit. Now, one of the most interesting additions to the garden this year has been 4, you've spotted them already, rather huge red hot pokers. Now, this one here shows you a poker in full bloom, but one of the problems with this plant is that it gets very scrawny almost as soon as it blooms, and also it gets very, very long. I think one of the problems is that it doesn't have very far to expand within the wall, so instead it expands upwards, and to be honest, looks a bit of a mess. I don't know what you make of it. So quite impressive, and I do like red hot pokers, but I'm not quite sure how long I'm going to keep them and how long I'm going to keep them until I cut them back. Here's a little plant of interest which is called a Chinese lantern. Now in the autumn you get these little paper lanterns about the size of a marble, and they turn brown. I saw some on a walk last year, and I've got that plant just recently at great expense and have huge hopes for it. Over here we have the Japanese bloodgrass, which is slightly sort of overcrowded by that yellow plant. And then also in the grass department we have this, which is called the ponytail, and I love just going past it and flicking it with my hand. So we'll move on now to, nearly forgot it, the Hercarella, which has gone to seed, but I quite like its colours. Next door is the Hosta, which again goes rather mad and probably needs a bit of cutting back now, as you can see from these rather holy leaves. And a few roses, nothing else of it remark there. Then we'll move on now to the flower and herb bed. Another of these monstrous, yeah they are monstrous, red hot pokers. And then down here at my feet we have, I think it's a lily. I'm not quite sure what some of these flowers are, I have to be honest. I should have kept the labels from them, but there we go. The flower patch merges into the herb patch. Now this herb I really like. It's actually called lovage, and it's like a cross between flat leaf parsley and celery. It's quite a robust herb, has quite a bitter taste, but I like it in my leaf salads, and I think also it's so strong it will probably work quite well in casserole, so I use that regularly. This one here is called stridolo. This is a very rare Italian herb which tastes a bit like pea shoots. It's also called bladder campion because its seed pods look like little bladders. I don't know how nice it is really, but it's quite clever, so I quite like it. Then I've got some tarragon, curly parsley and some rather overgrown oregano and chives. Right, now let me just take you down to the Veg Patch with my able cameraman. The camera work is by Bertie, by the way. He's doing very well so far. We have 3 yellow courgettes, well 4 actually, but one of them hasn't really developed yet. And then here we have some runner beans. I always think of Dad when I put up the runner bean canes. That was one of his jobs. These runner beans are supposedly, when they finally grow, guaranteed stringless, but I'll let you know about that. Next to them we've got the broad beans, which haven't actually been attacked by the bugs as yet, so that's looking quite promising. And I spotted a little bit earlier on, whoops, the early pods. So we'll have to have some of these podded for supper tonight. I always love the way the broad beans have their little furry pockets, don't you? Anyway, now this I'm really, really proud of. This is the red sweet corn. Yes, you heard it right, red sweet corn. Grown from seed it's going to look really, really good. They say also that it does ripen even in northern climes, so you can see the deep red colour of the stalks, so that augurs well, hopefully, for the sweet corns in due course. The strawberries this year have been a bit disappointing, not quite in such abundance, not quite so big. Interested to hear how you got on with your strawberries, Granny. I know you're a very keen grower now, but perhaps it's early days yet. I think we'll still have a fair few ice cream tubs worth to come. And then down here we've got the usual selection of some wild rocket, some yellow and other lettuce leaves. Over in this corner we've got some coriander, and then in this corner, this is the experimental corner. Do you know what these plants are going to be here? They're actually going to be celery. They don't actually become pickable until about September, so we will have loads of it then. And then over here you can see we've got some garlic. I'm not quite sure how many heads of garlic you get from each plant, so that'll be interesting to find out later in the year. Don't cover too much of this area on this side, because I'm leaving this to go to weeds, because it's underneath the tree and out of the sun, so it gets very little warmth or water, and so nothing much grows there. Another disappointment, have to say, has been the raspberries. I mean, I put loads of manure over them last winter, and you can see these canes here are hardly yielding any fruits, which I'm disappointed about. But significantly, you'll see that this year I have some new green shoots. You can see these are the new ones in my hand, and upon these, well, not shoots, on these stems next year, new raspberries will grow. So possibly I may have not many from these canes this year, but perhaps next year's will come up trumps. I don't know. If they don't, I'm going to have to get in some new ones, because it's quite a lot of space to use for something that isn't producing. We're nearly at the end of the tour now. Just have a quick look into the greenhouse. Always rather predictable what we have in here. We've got 2 pots of basil. I made some basil pesto, goes well with pasta just the other day. Coriander, useful for curries. And then I've got 4 different types of tomato, which you can see the fruits are on there now, but they won't really ripen up until into August, I guess, another 4 weeks. And finally, we're nearly there. I'll just show you the rockery, which again I made some good progress with this year. I bought some new alpine plants which have added some colour. Got nice purple ones there, a dark iris, I think it's an iris, I'm not quite sure. And then you've got some what's called sedums over here, and a nice range of colours and textures, even a little fern at the back. And finally, this little fella in the back there, that's a statue of a Buddha, which Jenny likes to do with, you know, because it's related to her yoga activities and such like. So that basically is the garden tour for 2021. Glad your garden's been looking good as well, and I'll hope to see you soon, and perhaps when I come down next I'll have some of that produce to give to you.